Hello everyone, welcome again to our YouTube channel IELTS by Neil. Today we are going to discuss one of the question types of academic writing task 1, that is the process diagram. In this type of question, you will be given a diagram with many steps. Could be 1, 2, 3, 4, could be 4 steps, or could be 5 steps, could be 6 steps. So various steps are given for a process, and the process could be for, let's take an example of how orange juice is made from fresh oranges, okay, or how chocolate is made, okay, or the steps about how any electronic appliance is made. The steps would be given in the form of diagram 1, 2, 3, okay, and you will have to explain the process. Like this happened after this, this was the next step, and the next step was this. So you have to use certain vocabulary, okay, and you have to highlight certain features, and you will have to write 150 words to explain this process diagram, and the time is 20 minutes. First of all, let's see what is the structure for this. So as I've told you in my previous videos, structure for task 1 academic remains the same, which is introduction. After that would be overall statement, and would be body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2. So this will be the structure for this process diagram. Before we move on to the structure, let's try to see what is the vocabulary that we can use in this. So coming on to the vocabulary now. So we call all of these a sequencer. Why? Because they help us to create the new sentences and the sequence. Because what is required in the process is that sequence that we have to produce, okay? Because process is not something the data is given straight away, like in the bar graphs or pie chart, okay? In this process, steps are given. So we cannot change the steps. Okay? We have to write the first step, after that the second one, then the third one, then the fourth one. So we need a sequencer to write all these in a sequence. Okay, so these are some words which will help you to write it in a sequence. So first of all, the first step or the first stage. So in the beginning, we can start our process diagram with this sentence that the first step of this method is this. Or for example, if you're writing for chocolate making, you can say the first steps involved in chocolate making is this. Okay, so you can start your process for this, or you can say first of all the step that took place is this. Okay, so any of these, you can write any of these. These are the starting statements. After that you can say next step is this, next this happened, or then after, this is the next one, after that, thereafter, and in the last step you can add this one, finally, final step. Okay, so all of these words are very important from the writing describing process diagram perspective. Okay, so you can make a note of these words so that you can use these words in your process diagram description. Okay, this was the vocabulary. Now let's talk about what is the grammar that you have to use in this one. Talking about the grammar, in the process diagram, we have to try our level best to use as much passive voice as we can. Okay, let me, for those who are not sure about the passive and active voice, let me make it clear with an example. For example, I say I make tasty food. That is an active statement. Okay, like I am making a tasty food. Okay, and now how do we convert it into passive? Tasty food is made by me. In passive, I is not important, and this is the formula for the passive voice. It's object, be verb. So what are the be verb? Be verb can be was, is, has been. Okay, so these are all of the be verbs. So in passive voice, object, be verb, and past participle. So here it was make, and what is the past participle of make? Is made. Okay, so this is the formula for the passive voice: object, be verb plus past participle. Okay, and these are your be verbs here. Mostly you have to write the process diagram in either by using is or was. For example, tasty food is made by me. Okay, or you can say if it's a past tense, or if it's the process that is given, which took place in the past, then you have to write tasty food was made by me. Okay, so everything remains the same, it's just this be verb that changes. All right, so the thing is, we have to try to write the process diagram in passive voice as much as you can. Okay, because one important thing for the process diagram is, like, what is happening is more important than who is doing it. Like, the person who is doing it is not important in process diagram or in passive voice. Okay, what is happening, what is the action that is taking place, like it is this process is taking place. Okay, washing, rinsing. Okay, so that what is happening, that is more important as compared to who is doing it. Okay, so I hope it's clear to you. The grammar we have to use in the process diagram is the passive voice. If you want me to make one dedicated video for active and passive voice, please do let me know in the comment section below. I'll do that for you. Now let's take an example of a process diagram. So we know the structure now: introduction, overall statement, and the body paragraph. So we know the vocabulary that we have to use. We have to use the sequencer in this process diagram, and we know the grammar that we have to use. We have to use the passive voice. Okay, now let's do an example. So this is an example for the production of olive oil. So if we look at the question statement, it says, if we start from here, the diagram below shows the production of the olive oil. So various steps are given here from the beginning to the end, and this whole process involved making of olive oil from fresh olives. And in this one, various steps are given. For example, this is the first step, picking. Second step is rinsing. Third one is smashing. After that, there are two products. After smashing is olive paste and olive stones. And olive paste is backed with holes. Number 4. Fifth step is pressing. 6th is separating. After separating, there are two products, oil and water. And after that, it is storage and sale. That is the 7th process. Total number of steps involved in making olive paste is 7 steps. So let's see how we can paraphrase this question statement. Okay, so the diagram will be the diagram. Below we don't have to write because in the answer sheet there's nothing going to be below. Shows the production. Okay, now we can change this whole thing by olive oil is produced. So let's see what is the introduction looks like. Say the diagram illustrates the process by which olive oil is produced. Very simple. It's just a paraphrase of this statement, nothing fancy I've used. Okay, so you have to be very simple and very clear. Do not write anything much extra in your introduction. Okay, coming to the overall statement. Now, how do we write overall statements for this process diagram? Okay, I'll give you a very simple tip here, that you can simply count the number of steps. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 7 steps are involved. So this could be your one overall statement, that a total number of 7 steps are involved in making olive oil from fresh olives. Okay, because in process diagram there's always going to be the steps, so you can just simply count them and just write your overall statement. Okay, and of course you have to write one more sentence, because in overall statement we have to try to write 2 sentences. So let's see what I have written with this overall statement here. It says, overall, this is a step-by-step process that is comprised of 7 stages. See, 7 steps or 7 stages. From the harvesting of mature fruit from olive trees to the packaging and sales of the finished product. So what I've done is 7 steps are involved, and the first step is picking the fruit, and the 7th step is storage and sale. So I've divided my overall statement into 2 things. Number 1 is number of steps, and number 2 is what is the first and last steps. This is the easiest way to do it. the process diagram oral statement. Okay, so I hope oral statement is clear to you for the process diagram, that you just count the number of steps, okay, that with the first statement, and you just see what is the first and last step of that, and that's it. Coming on to the first body paragraph. Now, how you have to do the body paragraphs? So simply you can divide this number of steps that you're going to write in the first body paragraph and the number of steps you're going to write in the second body paragraph. For example, in this one, you can write 3 or 4, and the next one you can write the remaining ones. Okay, so let's see how I have written, and please note that I have used passive voice in this writing. So initially, ripe olives are harvested from the trees by farmers. So first step is done, and then taken to rinsing machine where they are washed in cold water. Rinsing machine, that is done. After being rinsed, see, I've used this sequencer here. The olives are transferred via conveyor belt to another machine which grinds the olives to separate the fruit from the trees. So this is conveyor belt, and smashing is taking place now. Okay, so during this stage the olives are ground into a paste and the olive stones are removed. So this is the olive paste that is made, and olive stones are removed here. So these are the two byproducts of this process. So in the first body paragraph we have covered the first 3 stages. Okay, now let's see what we have done in the second body paragraph. The olive paste is then placed in a type of perforated bag. Perforated bag is this one, bag with the holes, being put through a pressing machine. Here is the pressing, this is process, followed by another sequencer here. See, another process where any excess water is separated. So separating, that is done. Excess water is here, and finally the olive is packaged and delivered to the shops where it can be sold. And this is the last point. So see, what I've done is I simply used the passive voice, the sequencer, and just written my process diagram. So I hope the process diagram is much clearer to you now. If you still have any questions related to this, please do let us know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for your time today. See you in the next video.